malformed. And he broke me down in my old form and began to build me into a different kind of human being. Farrakhan does not function like a snake, a serpent, or a dragon. Neither do I function as a beast, lying in wait for somebody to take advantage of their weakness. But as when you open a book, it looks like a bird. When God blesses you to come into the light of wisdom, you begin to take on wings. Not wings in the sense that wings sprout from your body, but wings in the sense that you can rise up above any situation and become its master. Not only did he, Elijah Muhammad, resurrect me, you can't deny all of you have been affected by Malcolm X. And Elijah Muhammad awakened him. He was 13 years in the process of resurrection when he departed from his teacher. He was my mentor. I never met a man more disciplined than Brother Malcolm. I think that I'm fortunate to have come up under such a magnificent student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Brother Malcolm was the first man to give me a Holy Quran. Brother Malcolm was the first man to give me 100 amazing facts about the Negro by J.A. Rogers. He gave me all of J.A. Rogers' books to study. He's the first man to give me a book called 15 Million Negroes, $15 billion. He was the first man to teach me how to pray. And he was the first man to teach me how to fast. It grieves me that he departed from this life. But I'm grateful to Allah for what he gave me. And the last conversation that I had with him in that blue Oldsmobile that sits over at Malcolm X College, he said to me these words, "Brother, one day my enemies will be yours." And he named some. I'm not going to say what he said in that case, because they did become my enemies, but I overcame them. He said, "I wish it was you being an example for me rather than me being an example for you." He was 13 years in that process. I'm 47 years in that process. I'm not yet a graduate student. But what I have can give life to every dead person on this planet. Because not only did he give me life, he taught me how to give life to others. So the hereafter, he says, hereafter what? It means here. After the destruction of the power and authority of the Caucasian people to rule. When their power is broken and they no longer can hold sway over human beings, then the human being that is from God will hear the call and respond and come to life. The white man's world is like snow. You don't get snow until you have 32 degrees Fahrenheit or less. And the snow covers the earth, and sometimes the drifts are so great you don't think that you'll ever see spring again. But when the earth turns in its relationship to the sun, and when we turn in our relationship to God and the light that he has sent down, then the ice and the snow begin to melt into life-giving water. And the water goes down and germinates the seed of the kingdom of God, which is in us. And then a new person comes up from the grave of ignorance. White people themselves are sick of their world. But they want to be the masters of the new order. That's not for them. The masters of the new order is to be the stone that the builders rejected. That's you. That's me. That's us. Now, I'm a student that is a reflection of my teacher. Now, look at what the enemy has put on me for the last 20 years. I haven't withered. Some of my detractors would say, he's a kind of gentler Farrakhan, you know. Like I've compromised the teachings. No. But I realize what he taught me. When Isian Udom made the book Black Nationalism and styled the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as a black nationalist, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not argue with him, but he said to me, oh, brother, they call me a black nationalist. He said, but black is not national. He said, black is universal. He said, for everything started in darkness and came out into the light. So what was he telling me? The first phase of the teaching was black. Black in a physical sense. The black man this, the black man that, the black man the other, the black man, black man, black man, black man. till we got so black, till we missed the universality of blackness. See, when what you have is universal, it fits everybody. See, when my dear sister, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, starts to teach on white supremacy and its effect on black people, universally, she can teach that same teaching and show the negative effect that it had on white people. Because what they taught now is coming back at them, because as thou hast done, so shall it be done. See? So now what we want is the life of the hereafter. Life of sport and play. Well, I love sport. I do. If there's a fight on, I'll do my best to try and see it. I just happen to like boxing. Now, I don't necessarily care for baseball, but during the World Series, I might look at it, maybe at the 7th game, you know. I can't tell you that I don't like basketball, especially when Michael was playing and the Bulls were reigning supreme. I had to turn my TV on to see what the Bulls are doing. I can't tell you I'm not a tennis fan, but when my sister is playing, I watch tennis. And I've never been a golf fan, but when Tiger was hitting that little white ball in the cup, I said, I got to look at this. But the life of this world, see, it's transitory. It's short-lived. You can't live your life for the pleasure of this world. There's a greater pleasure than the pleasure that this world offers. I'm finished, but this is where I want to stop, with the life of the hereafter. See, hereafter what? In your brain exists a government. You govern your body by what you have in your head. Revolution is the overthrow of false government and returning it to its original state. So the first government that has to be overthrown is the government in your head. It has not done well by you. It has not allowed you to satisfy your needs. Your government is messed up. But it takes power to overthrow a government. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the hereafter for my followers starts in this life. Well, how did you mean that? Here, after I have been washed of the white man's false ideas and concepts, here, in my head, after he is gone, and God has replanted a new idea that brings up a new way of thinking. Let this mind be in you, the same that was in Christ Jesus. You can have the mind of God if you dedicate yourself to reading the word that he revealed to Muhammad. This is a conversation that God had with a man. and you and I are allowed to listen. Now, you listen in on a conversation that God is talking to another man. Don't you think you'll come away wise? That's how powerful the Quran is. Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, if you will come under the law of righteousness, it will produce love among you. What's the problem with us? We don't love each other. Why don't we love each other? Because we have not submitted to a law that causes me to treat you like I want to be treated myself. So then you can't produce love with a white dress or a bow tie. You can't produce love with a kufi or a jalabiyah or a beard or clean-shaved face. These are outward appearances that could betray something different that's going on the inside. But if we, from the inside, submitted to the law of righteousness, then love would come up among us. And that love would bring unity and peace and unlimited progress. So the Quran says in the hereafter, you won't hear any vain discourse. Just peace, peace, peace. And it gives you a physical picture on raised couches with people never altering in age. Do you know what it's like to live in a world where you can't trust nobody? That's a lot of stress. You take your car to the mechanic. You're not a mechanic. The dude gets under there and tells you this is wrong, that is wrong, the other is wrong. Hardly nothing is wrong, but he's robbing you. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you went to a Muslim mechanic who put righteousness ahead of profit? And he tells you exactly what is wrong and doesn't try to rob you. Can you imagine the kind of trust you have? I go to a Muslim who loves righteousness to buy a house, and they're not trying to lie to me about the price. I go to a Muslim lawyer who prides himself in the law of God above the law of man. And I can turn my back and know that my interest is being protected. Go to a Muslim doctor, a Muslim architect, a Muslim plumber, electrician, or a true Christian who will not cheat and steal. That's the beginning of a heavenly life among us. That life we can have right now. You don't have to wait. Let the resurrection process begin in you. That you're going to be a better you. In the Quran, it talks about 3 stages of human development. The first stage is the animalistic stage, where we act like we act now. That's an animal. The second stage is a moral stage, where the self-accusing spirit begins to tell you, you shouldn't have did that. The third stage is when you are so in tune with God. I forget the name that is used in Arabic, but it has something to do with paradise, Jannah, but it's when the soul of the person is so in oneness with God that the person reflects the attributes of God. Then that is a soul at rest, well pleasing to thy Lord and well pleased. That's what we can get in this life. So believers, you said we're going to do this. In 6 months' time, we not only must fast and pray, we're going to work. So that Allah, as well as His messenger and the believers, may see our work. We have to build not a mosque, but a nation. But a nation where our people can find expression. You don't force them to be a Muslim. There's no compulsion in religion. The right way is clearly distinct from error, but righteousness is what we want to practice, not fighting over labels. Listen, listen, listen. We want to establish 9 ministries. A ministry of information, a ministry of art and culture, a ministry of education, a ministry of defense, a ministry of science and technology, ministry of health, ministry of justice. We got to stop relying on the courts of the enemy. When we offend one another, we have to set up among ourselves a court system that we have, that we respect, that we settle each other's disagreements with justice. And all of these ministries will be under the governance of the spiritual. Everything comes from God. You cannot take God out of anything and be successful. So, I'm asking for resumes of all of those who really want to help build a nation. Whatever your skill is. I'm asking every one of the ministers to look in your mosques and find a person whose desire it is to become a writer or reporter for the Final Call newspaper. If we're in 120 or more cities, and in every city we have a reporter, then that means we can spread the news of what's happening far and wide. We have to increase the circulation of the paper and make it the instrument that our people read for enlightenment. So I'm asking in all of the mosques that are listening today, if you would like to be a reporter, a writer for the Final Call, give your name to your minister, and we will be coming in your area to train you. We have to focus on education. We have a school here. We can't let the school die from the lack of attention and care. We have an opportunity to escape the corruption of a declining educational system. America is 18th in the developed world in mathematics and science, which means her civilization is going down. This is a sinking ship. So the book says, come out of her, my people. Come on. We can build an educational system superior to anything that exists. With the knowledge of God, the knowledge of self, the knowledge of others, science and mathematics at its core. Help me to do that. So in this next 6 months, we'll probably have a constitutional convention where we will take a look at the present constitution of the Nation of Islam, which was fashioned by myself and others when we first started rebuilding. We need to look at it again in light of today's world and the needs and refashion it. I guarantee you this 6 months will not be just fasting and prayer, but it will be work like we never worked before, internally and externally. So, my family, I want us to create the beginning of the hereafter right now. I want, listen. I want us to practice respect for one another. And every one of us should recommit ourselves to the law of righteousness. And this will stop slander, backbiting, stealing, lying, abuse, and love will come up out of you. And people will want to be where you are, because to inhale an atmosphere of love and freedom and justice and equality and progress, everybody wants that. That's what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted. So take this thought home with you. There were some sick people in the time of Jesus that had a devil. And the disciples worked all day and couldn't heal the man. So they found Jesus and said, Jesus, we tried. Would you? And in an instant, Jesus healed him. So when the disciples got Jesus alone, they said, Master, why was it that we couldn't heal that man? And Jesus said, O ye of little faith, if you had faith the grain of a mustard seed, you could say to the mountain, be removed, and it would be so. And you could say to the sycamore tree, be uprooted and be planted in the depth of the sea, and it would be so. In another part, this person was possessed of demons, and the disciples went to work on that person and couldn't do anything. So they came to Jesus. At least they were intelligent. When you can't do something, it's good to know that you can go to somebody who knows how to do this thing. So they knew Jesus had this power. So they went to the master and said, look, we've been working on this fella, and We can't seem to cast out this demon. Jesus came instantly, cast the demon out. The disciples said, Master, why couldn't we do this? He said, this kind of demon can only be cast out by fasting and prayer. Now, each of us is possessed of a demon. You all know what your demon is. Maybe you got more than one. Maybe we got 2, 3, 4, 5. One person came to Jesus, has 7 devils. That didn't stop Jesus. But look at what he said. Come out of her. And when they were coming out, they were cussing Jesus. Why are you persecuting us before time? It's time now for the enemy's world to come down. It's time now for demons to be cast out of our people. It's time now. But you can't do it if you're weak in faith. And the kind of demons that our people got is going to take some fasting and prayer and study. And then we can say, like Jesus said to Lazarus when he came out bound and blindfolded, he said, loose him, Satan, and let him go. That's the beginning of your resurrection. Let that enemy loose you, let you go, and let God resurrect you from death, and let us become a society of living people filled with love and mercy and kindness to each other and to our people. Thank you for listening, and may Allah bless you as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.